Okay.
Next case is Scott Peterson. So we're going to talk about Scott Peterson, who had a prison attack on himself in March of this month. Okay. But first, I'll just go over, in case anybody doesn't know, Scott Peterson is serving a life sentence in California for 2002 murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey. Everybody knows this case. It made national headlines, and he was originally sentenced to death, but in 2020, his death sentence was overturned, and it was changed to life without parole. Peterson still claims he's innocent, and is currently, as we know, we've done an episode on him not long ago, that he is working with the Los Angeles Innocence Project to try and get a new trial. Now,
Yes.
my mind is always changing about Scott Peterson. 1 minute, I think he's completely innocent, and the next minute, I think he's guilty. And it keeps going back and forth, back and forth. I'm not even going to comment on. You can if you
Right.
want comment what you're thinking now, but I keep changing. So
Right. I just don't think there's enough evidence to really. I understand what you're saying, how you go back and forth, but I just don't think there's concrete evidence to keep somebody in jail for that long. I don't. I just.
yeah, my thing with Scott is that he probably
If it,
did it, but the evidence isn't there, just like you're saying.
right. So I almost feel like if this same case arise today, I mean, look, I mean, actually, I'll bring it up next time when we talk about
Okay.
a different case. But just remind me to tell you about it. But I just kind of feel like if this was taken today, there's no way. I don't think anybody would put him in jail because one, there's no DNA, and there's nothing really concrete tying him to it,
Yeah.
other than not stipulations, just the idea the likeliness of doing it, I think, is what got him guilty.
Yeah, whenever we bring him up or whenever we're talking about him, I get so much anxiety. Because I know how sensitive everybody is about this guy. And I also,
Right.
I know that it rattles a lot of feathers to hear that there wasn't enough evidence, because it is terrible. This young pregnant girl. And if anybody's ever read Lacey Rocha's, Sharon Rocha, sorry, is her mom. Her mom wrote a book about Lacey, and it just breaks your heart. And,
Right.
I feel for the
Very sweet
family.
lady.
And, I think sometimes to myself, well, what if they were listening right now? Like, how dare I say he didn't do it? You know what I mean? But here's the
Right.
thing. There were things that went wrong in this trial, and there was things that went wrong in the investigation, and it really upsets me.
Yes.
Right?
There's a lot of unturned stones. I think that they could have went down, or they could have checked that they didn't, because they just were just so focused on him.
Yeah.
I just remember the whole like walking the dog and how people claimed that they saw her on this block, but they never, even though they called it in for tips, nobody ever followed up to them. Just things like that. Like I just think that it wasn't a thorough investigation as well.
Yeah. I'm with you on that
So,
one. Yeah.
right.
And there are cases out there that, like, if after another second investigation happened and they said, oh, well, the person's guilty, I could see myself being shocked at some others that have been on trial. But with this one, I would not be shocked. In other words, like if they reinvestigate it and he's guilty and it's done the right way this time and they say he's guilty, I would be like, okay, that makes sense too.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
Makes sense.
I agree. Right.
But it bothers me.
So yeah, I know. So tell me, who is this guy
Okay, this
to
guy that you're looking at on the right. Okay, so March 9th. That's like what, 11, 12 days ago, something like that. I can't count. I'm bad at math. So you guys figure it out. March 9th, he was attacked by another inmate while playing pickleball at Mule
Oh,
Creek State Prison in California. So
they play
here's what.
pickleball in jail? Look at
Well,
that.
apparently Scott did. This guy was not playing it with him. So that's what I found out. Like
Okay.
I was listening to the interview because there was an interview with this guy. I was going to play it, but I'm like, nah, I just want to kind of blow through this. But it
Okay.
happened when Peterson retrieved a stray ball during a game. Okay. Now this other guy, he was new into the, he maybe spent some time in that prison and came back, like, for whatever reason. They brought him back to that prison. His name is Charles
Okay.
Miles. He misunderstood Peterson's movement and thought he was being charged at with a weapon by Scott Peterson, when poor Scott Peterson was just, like, literally running towards him to try to get his ball. And, yeah.
Yeah, Peterson's probably like, damn, I missed that ball. I gotta be better at this. Next thing you know, he gets Bam.
Right? I know. So anyway, what? Okay. So in response, he physically attacks Peterson, later saying he didn't even recognize who Peterson was. Now, I listened to an interview today by Vinny Politan on Court TV, and he actually talked to the guy. So I listened to the guy talking, and he said, "This is what happened. I was hanging out with my buddy, my cellmate. We were hanging out, and he also establishes, I don't like women killers, child abusers, molesters. Me and my cellmate hate those people." So his cellmate goes, "Hey, that's wife and baby killer over there, Peterson." And he looks and he sees Peterson, but he does not know it's Peterson and doesn't even think that's Peterson, because he said, his words, he had a long ponytail and he was so tan, he looked like a Mexican. He had sunglasses on. He said he didn't even look like, yeah. So
yeah, I can see that.
He said he looked like this little Mexican guy. I'm like, so anyway, prison guards quickly step in. They use pepper spray and batons to break up the fight. Both men had minor injuries and were disciplined afterwards. So, but yeah, I just,
Peterson got disciplined? I think that's BS. If he got jumped. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
I'm sure. Yeah.
When you're in prison, it doesn't matter to them. They could care less. If one person starts it and there's a fight of any kind, or they think they see anything, well, they don't stick up for the victim ever.
Yeah, I know.
They don't.
I get it. Yeah.
But one more interesting tidbit is that Miles admitted that he made peace with him afterwards, because Peterson has money and influence behind bars. So he's kind of like Wade a little bit.
Well, he does have some invested time there. It's close to 30 years, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do the math, but I mean, you do make some friends, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. He called the fight, quote unquote, God's plan. So even high profile inmates like Peterson are not immune to violence, right? So, it definitely highlights.
Just playing pickleball.
It's actually pretty pathetic sounding. It's like, it's really sad. It is.
He was just playing pickleball.
I'm wondering, we're all still waiting to find out what the latest is with him. And there's really nothing out there. I'm part of a few groups that keep trying to push the whole he's not guilty thing. And not ready to believe that one yet until we get some more info. So yeah.